We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at WGNSradio.com. This is the WGNS Action Line, talking with Rutherford County newsmakers about what matters most to you. Now, your host, Bart Walker.
Top of the morning to you. Welcome in. It's a beautiful day if you enjoy 7-degree days. And a guy who loves 7-degree days is with us now. He's right off the farm. You stoked up the wood this morning, you said?
I did. We got the fire going in the fireplace again. It kind of died down, but didn't take but a minute. And I left the house with a roaring fire in the fireplace. You
were busy the other day. I watched you on Facebook.
Oh, here we go. That was not my doing, Bart. I was a 12-year-old little boy having fun in the snow.
Well, it's good to be able to turn that fun into something productive.
So your listeners probably don't know, but I love heavy equipment. It doesn't matter if it's a track hoe or a bulldozer or a skid steer loader.
And that's why you're on a farm.
Yeah, I've always operated equipment. I enjoy operating equipment, and it's just relaxing to me. So when we had that last snow event, I pulled my emergency team together and say, okay, what's the plan for making sure our parking lots and the sidewalks are clear? And so got together with our EMA director Chris Clark and our solid waste director Bishop Wagner and all those guys, Eric Hennessy, my chief of staff. So we all got together and we formulated a plan. And Adam Dodd, our maintenance director, by the way, who does a phenomenal job. And so because the last big snow event, there were some things that we could have done a lot better. And so lessons learned, Bart, are like bridges burned. You only need to cross them but once. And so we didn't know how big this event was going to be. Didn't turn out to be as big as we thought, but we didn't know. So we wanted to be prepared. And so my responsibility, as tasked by EMA Director Chris Clark and Maintenance Director Adam Dodd, was to get a skid steer and clear parking lots. And that's what the mayor did. So we're good. I enjoyed it, and I think I did a pretty good job.
And the main thing was you enjoyed it.
I did. I did. I enjoyed doing that kind of thing. I can tell you when I was done by 4:30, it was getting dark. And I was both cold and wet, so I was glad to be done. But I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed why I got to do it. If we have another snow event, I expect I'll be out there again, laboring on the behalf of our citizens and for my own personal enjoyment. So hopefully it's a win-win.
It is 7 degrees right now. 7 outside.
That's hard on equipment, Bart. 7 degrees is really hard on equipment. So
Rutherford County schools are closed today. We've heard a lot of people talking about that because it's difficult to keep a room comfortable and warm, especially these portable rooms, if it's 7 degrees outside.
Yeah, so the challenge is obviously making sure, because a heat pump doesn't work below 26, 28 degrees. So then you've got to have heat strips, and heat strips are pretty inefficient, and they're very expensive to run. But that's how unless you have gas heat, that's how we typically heat down here in the South. But having said that, I think
the heat strip's an electric heater.
Mm-hmm, yes, sir. So, but the biggest concern, I think, with the schools is having the kids wait outside for an extended period of time at a school bus stop. That was the major concern. I did talk to Middle Tennessee Electric.
Of course, we walked to school in the snow back
uphill both ways.
Yes.
So I don't get it, but nonetheless, I think our parents reared us with a little more haphazardly, and it shows, Bart. So just so
I don't know where you grew up, but
I grew up in a military family. Is how I grew up.
So you were everywhere.
Oh, I was. Yeah, I went to 8 different schools in the first 8 grades.
I think my entire life, somebody says, well, where are you from? My entire life has been within 25 miles of where I am right this minute.
Isn't that amazing? And I'm jealous of that a little bit. So my mom I think I've told this story several times on the show, but my mom is a 6th-generation Tennessean from the Rockville community, her family. My dad is a Texan, so I've got some pretty good breeding.
Yeah.
they met while he was an Air Force fighter pilot. They met while she was on spring break down in Florida when he was on TDY, temporary duty. And they fell in love on the beach and got married 9 months later.
And there was no snow on that beach.
At that time, there wasn't any snow on the ground. Now I think they got, 6, 8, 10 inches or something like that, which is something silly. But anyway, so with the kids, it's real important that we keep them safe. And it's not the same community now that it was when we grew up, Bart. So the county's got to adjust a little bit, and that's a good thing. We don't need, for one day of school, we don't need to risk the health and safety of our children, not for a minute. And I do want to say this. I did speak with Chuck Barber at Middle Tennessee Electric, and he assured me that the power grid was in good shape. I don't know if you remember, but a couple of years ago we had a significant grid problem where we had rolling brownouts, and that was a TVA issue that's found its way down to the local provider. He assured me yesterday and the day before we're in excellent shape. But still, it would help to conserve a little bit.
Now, are there some other things? I know the county has been doing a great job in responding to this cold weather. And then a few days ago, not weeks ago, just prior to this cold weather, we had ice and snow. They did a great job there.
Yeah. So, and again, we're trying to become a little more proactive instead of reactive. So, we would kind of like, I think we're wanting to get to the place where if we over prepare and we miss because the weather forecaster said we're going to get 6 to 8, but we only get 1 to 2, we can live with that. What we don't want to have to live with is they predicted 1 to 2 and we get 6 to 8, and so we're caught unprepared. So I have a team that I've assembled that led by Chris Clark, that pays particular attention to the forecast, and we don't get our weather forecast from a single source. So we get it from multiple sources, and then we look at the aggregate of what they're trying to tell us, and we monitor that. When we think there's a weather event coming, we monitor that on an hourly basis. So,
very good.
Yeah. So we're trying to be more responsive.
Now, as you look at the situation, cold weather, quick response, monitoring various sources, is it coming up with a good answer for you? Are you satisfied so far with the outcome? I'm
over the top pleased with the response of our Rutherford County workers. Our maintenance department, led by Adam Dodd in particular, solid waste department, led by Bishop Wagner, do a phenomenal job preparing, and of course Chris Clark coordinating those activities. Our Rutherford County workers, and let me just stop and say this. So I have, as the listeners may know, I was the TDEC assistant commissioner for a while, about a year and a half, and great organization.
People may not know what that is.
Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. It's about 1,500 employees, about a $500 million budget at the time, and so I was the assistant commissioner for administration under David Salyers, the commissioner. Prior to that, I owned a large engineering company. The point of this, that I'm bringing this to you, is that I've got a lot of experience working in large organizations at the C-level, the CEO or equivalent, and having really good people around me to help make the organization run and fulfill its mission. I've never been around an organization with this many talented employees who are as dedicated and passionate about their work as Rutherford County employees. And the testimony to that is that when I was sworn into office 2.5 years ago, you hear a lot of chatter about, well, Mayor, you need to bring your own people in, and you need to replace these people and that people. And I just, for 90 days, I wasn't going to listen to any of that. It's just, let's watch and learn and see how they're doing. And I'm going to tell you something. In 2.5 years, Bart, I've not had to ask for the resignation of a single Rutherford County employee.
Wow.
Now, we're talking 1,800 county general employees, excuse me, and another 7,000 teachers. Now, I don't supervise the teachers. Obviously, that's the school board. But the point is, the Rutherford County has phenomenal people, and it's illustrated by their willingness to step up, like Adam Dodd, Chris Clark, Bishop Wagner, to anticipate work harder, work overtime, put in additional hours to make sure our public is safe. And they do it all the time. Day in and day out, they do it all the time.
Now, this is a segue into a different subject, but I think it sort of ties the subject you're in right now to what we're moving into.
Yeah.
Rutherford County has just become, of course, we've seen this coming all along, and I think we've been talking about it, going into the fourth largest county of Tennessee. We have now surpassed Hamilton County, Chattanooga, in population. We are the fourth largest county in Tennessee.
So you and I started talking about this right after I got sworn in September 1st, 2022, if you remember. There was speculation back then. I said it's coming. I said that if you look at the data and you look at the trend on our growth, we're adding 8, 9, 10,000 people a year to this county, whereas which it was a growth rate of 3 to 4% at the time. Hamilton County was growing at less than 1%. It's just math, Bart. And so if you follow the trend line, it was anticipated that before 2026, we were going to surpass Hamilton County. Well, we did it on 2025. So the UT Center for Population Studies, the Boyd Center, has estimated that the Rutherford County population as of January 1st, 2025, is 388,909 people. That is their estimate. Now, they come out with these, just so you know, this isn't just a Rutherford County estimate. They survey estimates for all 95 counties in the state and the entire state. And so all this data is online at the UT Center for Population Studies. And so according to their estimate, this estimate now puts Rutherford County surpassing Hamilton County as the fourth largest county in the state. That's a big deal because it requires your mayor, Joe Carr, to undergo somewhat of a paradigm shift, because this is not, you talked about you lived within 25 miles of where you're at right now. Well, so you grew up here. This is your hometown. And so you and I and other community leaders who've been here all our lives, or the majority of our lives, have to adjust that this isn't the sleepy little town of 20, 25, 30,000 people anymore, a county of 50,000. Murfreesboro is estimated to have 170,000 people. Smyrna is estimated to have 60,000. Laverne, 40,000. And
that's a lot of folks.
That is a lot of folks. And that means we have a lot of responsibilities, and we've got to meet the demands that the public is requiring of us to provide the services that by law we're required to provide, like a jail, like public schools, like autopsies. We're required to do by law autopsies, which was the need for the forensic center, and hopefully we talk about that in a second. But so we're required by statute to perform these services. Solid waste, we're supposed to have solid waste convenience centers. So we're required to do a number of things, and as this county grows, the requirement to fulfill that obligation also grows.
Now, as we continue to grow, I noticed that when we were looking at these numbers a year, 2 years ago, about the size of Rutherford County, when you added up the Murfreesboro City Schools population and the Rutherford County Schools population, the enrollment, we were ahead of Hamilton County a year ago.
We are ahead.
As far as school population.
If the K through 12 population, public school population, not counting the private or the homeschool, just the public, if you include Murfreesboro City and Rutherford County, we're at over 62,000 K through 12 kids. That's larger than Knox County.
I didn't realize
Yes,
that.
Sir. Yes,
larger
sir.
Than Knox. Why is that?
It's the nature of our demographics. We have a tremendous number of people, young families that move here to start their families and raise them. Tremendous number. And
that's good for the future.
It's wonderful for the future. We have to manage this growth, not restrain it, but manage it so that the growth reflects the values and the principles that this county was founded on. I mean, it's no secret we don't want to California Rutherford County, and we won't. But in order for us not to do that, we have to have a vision for what we want to be, in 10, 20, or 30 years, which is why the county is now undertaking, with the leadership of Chairman Jeff Phillips of the Commission and Pettis Reed, Chairman of the Planning Commission, we're moving toward what's called Plan Rutherford, which is our 20-year growth plan. And we're within about 6 months of hopefully getting that before the commission for ratification.
Okay. We have a listener who's asking us, do you foresee any movement toward a metro government for Rutherford County? They're saying that usually things come out of a need financially. It has in other places. And they're predicting that maybe it's going to cost a whole lot more to build schools and things of that sort. So we may need to come up with some extra money.
The answer for me is absolutely not. And the reason is if you're looking for economies of efficiency, which is one of the major selling points of a metro government, you combine services so there are not this duplication of services. I think there are other ways to achieve that efficiency that we're looking for with regard to economies of scale. Having said that, I think it's also understand that when you do a metro government, you necessarily lose the uniqueness of the outlying communities. Smyrna and Laverne and Eagleville and Murfreesboro have a number of things that they hold in common, but they also have a number of very distinct and unique characteristics. Additionally, so do the communities of Almoville and Christiana and Milton and Las Casas and Walter Hill, and these other areas all are quite unique. And when you do a metro government, basically it's just one large melting pot, and that uniqueness tends to get diluted. And I'm not the least bit interested in doing that. I want to maintain the character of those communities because that character adds to the fabric of what I believe makes Rutherford County so unique and what makes it so attractive. So for my part, no to metro government. I think there are other ways to achieve those economies of scale that a metro government sometimes provides.
I believe there are 3 metro governments in Tennessee. Is that right?
Let's see, Nashville,
Davidson,
Trousdale, and Moore County, which is Lynchburg.
And then Knoxville has some segments that are sort of that way. I think their school system...
It's quasi, yeah. The Knox County only has a Knox County school system. They don't have a city school system. And, if Murfreesboro is not required to have a school system, they do that because they choose to, and I understand that, and that's their choice. But if at any given point in time, Murfreesboro said, if we want to, what would a potential merge look like? We would certainly have that discussion, but it would be a long, lengthy discussion. And just so your listeners know, there is no such discussion taking place. Just the county's always willing to discuss with any of its partners at the city level how we can be more efficient.
Okay. Speaking of mergers, here is a question that sort of fits into that, and this is not really a merger, but it's the city and county working together on the issues that deal with Middle Point landfill. How is that coming?
So the transfer station is scheduled to be complete on or about April 1 of this year, which is 60 days away, 75 days away. I'm not sure exactly when we're going to open. We've got to get some equipment installed. We potentially could open as early as May 1, but I'm not willing to announce an opening date yet. I do know we will open on or before July 1 and be operational. And we're very, very excited about that. I know a number of the third-party contractors who pick up curbside are anxiously awaiting the opening of the transfer station because just recently, they were experiencing 2.5 and 3 hour waits before they could unload at the top of Trash Mountain. And so I understand that Middle Point is changed leadership over there. Mr. Clausen, congratulations to him, has moved on to a more senior position within the organization. So I understand that we have a new manager out there. I haven't met the young lady yet, but I'm looking forward to working with her. And but at the end of the day, Rutherford County will be solid waste independent and begin that process in earnest starting this year.
So with the new person being in charge, the general manager out there, What will her duties be, and are they different from what Mike Klassen and his predecessors have had?
No, I don't think so. I think she's going to assume the day-to-day operations, as I understand it. I would say this. I would probably be wise to let Mr. Klassen talk about that in detail. But my understanding, he has moved on. He's been promoted to a senior management position within the organization, or been promoted to another position within the organization that's more regional, and that she is now responsible for the day-to-day operations of Middle Point landfill. But the challenges remain the same as Middle Point reaches capacity, which it is rapidly approaching its capacity. It becomes more and more difficult for the Independence and Rutherford County to take the trash up there, because you have longer wait times. And so it's going to be difficult as we start to fill that up for us to get in and out there in a timely fashion. But we're making the adjustments, and everybody will, I'm sure, figure this out over the next couple of years.
Very good. We'll be watching that one closely. Tell you what, let's do. Let's pause for just a moment. We will be back and continue the conversation. If you'd like to text us a question, that's probably the easiest way to get on. 615-893-1450. That's the number, just the same number you call us on. You can text as well. Of course, you have to do that on your cell phone. 615-893-1450. We'll be right back. Rutherford County Mayor Joe Carr is with us this morning.
There are places where people talk, and then there are places that people talk about. News Radio WGNS is both on air, online, and on the phone.
Hi, this is Peter Demas. Join our family at Demas's Restaurant. So many people buy so many different things. You know, I go out to eat and I like eating steak, where my wife will end up getting our salmon. Our salmon is cut fresh, so she loves our salmon. It's one of those places that you can go, you can get pastas or chicken, the kids love it. Get what you want at Demas's Restaurant and not be limited just to one or two items. Join our family at Demas's Restaurant, 1115 Northwest Broad Street in Murfreesboro.
Hi, this is Dan at Music World and Drummers Den. If you need music gear, Music World and Drummers Den is where you need to be. We have more guitars than anybody in town. We have all stringed instruments. We've got it all. We have keyboards as well. Do we have drums? We are Music World and Drummers Den. We also have an excellent choice of used equipment. We are Music World and Drummers Den, 2762 South Church Street, across from Indian Hills Golf Course.
Look for sunny to partly cloudy skies for this afternoon with highs reaching 34 degrees. For tonight, mostly clear skies, lows in the mid-teens. I'm meteorologist Michael Carr, News Radio WGNS. Right now, it's 9 above.
I'm a single mom, and as you can imagine, it's a fight sometimes just to get out the door. But when I need new tires or something's wrong with my car, I need to head to someone I can trust. I go to Tire World.
Tire World, we keep your family rolling.
Tire World, locally owned and operated.
Talk with the police chief, the mayor, and other local leaders about issues that concern you.
The Action Line with Bart Walker, weekdays at 8:10 on WGNS.
I want to say congratulations to Raleigh Holden. Raleigh is our good neighbor of the day. Mr. Sled is what we call him. You can always depend on Holden Hardware. If you need sleds, he has them. If you need some extra material to do those do-it-yourself projects around the house, look to Raleigh. Raleigh Holden. Chad Mills is the winner this morning of that delicious Slick Pig banana pudding. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday to Chad Mills. You don't have a birthday or anything today, do you?
No, but I gotta say this. Monty Hale Jr. just walked in, and great guy. And I love his commentary on sports. And a lot of people don't know, when I was in high school, Monty and I were neighbors out on Rucker Lane. and fond memories. So Monty and I have known each other longer than we like for people to know, but he's a good dude. Monty Hale Jr. Knows a lot about sports, so.
He'll be on this afternoon at 5.
He's a good guy. Good guy.
He always likes to get here early.
Yeah, you know what I like about Monty? Yeah, he is here. He looked like Monty comes rolling. He's got the toboggan in almost over his eyes. He's got this big parka.
It's 9
like
degrees
he's in the
now.
Arctic. I mean, come on, Monty.
It is cold.
It is cold, but God bless him. He does a good job for our community. Always has, and loved his dad. Loved his dad. What he did over at MTSU. Loved his dad. So good seeing him.
Tell you what, let's continue the conversation. Our guest this morning, Rutherford County Mayor Joe Carr, and he's here to answer whatever questions you might have dealing with Rutherford County. You mentioned about the Forensic Center earlier. That's always a hot topic. Sort of bring us up to speed on how we stand. Do we stand?
Well, first of all, the community needs to know this is a requirement by law that the county has, is to perform autopsies for in the event of a questionable death or a death investigation by law enforcement. So in order to do that, and because of the size of our county, now we're back to this paradigm shift that I was telling you about, Bart, where we're not this sleepy little town. It is estimated that we need to be performing, or it's anticipated that we should have to perform anywhere between about one autopsy per 1,000 population. So that's 388,000 people, 389,000 people is where we're at right now. So we should be doing about 390 autopsies a year. And that's a lot of autopsies. Each autopsy that we send to Nashville costs the county a minimum of $2,500 apiece. And so we're spending anywhere between $900,000 and $1 million a year in autopsies. And so we were, and again, a minute ago, we were talking about how can we be more efficient with our dollars, because we're not going to raise property taxes this year. Unless something catastrophic happens, that's a deadlock cinch. We're not going to do that. So we have to become more efficient. We can actually, if we build our own forensic center out on Weekly Lane in Smyrna, we can actually do the autopsies about $800 to $1,000 a piece cheaper. So why wouldn't we save the county residents that money by performing this service ourselves? However, that's not the prevailing need here. The prevailing need is currently there are only 5 forensic centers in all of Tennessee. One forensic center, the one in Nashville, services 2/3 of all the counties. And if something were to happen where they lost a pathologist or they had an event that happened, a mechanical event at their facility, we would absolutely be the very first county to be cut loose because of the number of autopsies we take to Davidson County. And literally, this county, with regard to this service, has no plan B. None. We can't take them to Hamilton County. We can't take them to Knox County. And we can't take them to Shelby County. We've got nowhere to take them. And so we have to have a solution. And relying on a private enterprise out of Davidson County that also services 64 other counties is an unacceptable situation for this county. And that's why I'm pushing very hard to build this forensic center so that Rutherford County, the now 4th largest county in the state, can have the option it needs to perform the services that it's required to do under state law.
A listener asked if the one in Nashville is tied with Davidson and Williamson County, and is that where their heart is?
Yes, the answer to those questions, yes, it is. And so a pathologist by law can only perform a certain number of autopsies a year. I think the recommendation is 200, but you can't perform more than 325 a year. So if you lose a pathologist, you have to reduce the number of autopsies your facility is prescribed to do. Well, that's what happened in Shelby County last year. Shelby County last year had 9 other counties that were being serviced out in West Tennessee by Shelby County Forensic Center. They lost a pathologist, so they had to cancel the contract for all 9 other counties. And so all those 9 counties now in West Tennessee now come to Nashville. Well, what would happen if the Forensic Center in Nashville were to lose a pathologist or something were to happen? The first place they would go would be Rutherford County, because they could immediately open up about 350 autopsies a year available to them so they could comply with regulations.
What do you need to be a pathologist, and are they hard to hire?
They're not. It's a challenge to hire them. I wouldn't say it's hard, but it's a competitive environment. Nationally, there is a dearth of pathologists. In other words, we need more pathologists than there are available in the United States. Having said that, though, Rutherford County is in a very good place to attract the high-end professional that the role requires, in the fact that it's a new facility and it's a growing community and people already want to move here. So there's some very attractive elements that help us when we get to staffing this forensic center.
Are we going to be connected to MTSU, and is that an attraction?
Potentially we could. MTSU, and I talked to Dr. McPhee about this, is very open to the idea, especially about it being a teaching facility at appropriate time. But I wanted to address the concern that I had that Rutherford County doesn't have a plan B. So if we can evolve this into a teaching facility, Dr. McPhee has been very cooperative in working with the county and seeing what that looks like. But I think what we want to do is we want to get it built, and then so we can move forward. And quite honestly, we have designed this facility so that it can be expanded. So if we do want to turn it into a teaching facility, we actually could expand that ability to do so with the footprint we have out on Weekly Lane.
Now, would you somehow mesh this with your EMS stations?
So out there on Weekly Lane, this is if you go to Weekly Lane and G Street in Smyrna, you will see that the Lisa Kroll has a clerk's office there. We've got the convenience center there. It's about 17 acres. And so we're going to take this 17 acres and we're going to build it out as the Rutherford County, Smyrna Operations and Administrative Office. We're growing so fast in Smyrna and Laverne. We need to move some of our functionality for administrative offices up toward that end of the county. It's for convenience sake, and just again, we're a county of almost 400,000 people, Bart. We've got to think more outside the box than all the services within the county are provided within the city of Murfreesboro. So on that campus of 17 acres, we currently have the clerk's office, we have a convenience center, we're going to have a forensic center, we're going to have an EMS station, and we still have some acreage left over to expand additional administrative offices if and when we get to that point. Which I expect we will.
That's really total service for the county.
It is.
You can go over and get your license plate. You can dump your trash.
Right.
You can get an autopsy made.
Or you get a death certificate. There's a lot of services that the Forensic Center is going to provide to the community. And then we have an EMS station there. So, and I would expect us locating additional county services on that campus. It's going to be a Rutherford County campus to service the county's residents' needs in Smyrna and Laverne. That's what it's designed to do.
Now, in addition to getting your license tag there, do they do the other county court clerk items there? You can get
it is a full service.
Wedding license, everything.
Anything you can get done at the clerk's office, you can get done there. And quite honestly, I would anticipate maybe another office opening up downstream where we do where the Building and Codes Department has a satellite office there. Just depends on where the need is as it relates to meeting the growth demands of Smyrna and Laverne. And let me just say this, working with Mayor Jason Cole in Laverne and working with Mayor Mary Esther Reed is a real privilege. And Mayor McFarland and Mayor Chad Lehman of Eagleville, we all get along splendidly, and we all of us come from the philosophy, and I want to say this, is that what's good for Eagleville, Laverne, Smyrna, and Murfreesboro is good for Rutherford County. And so when they have a need, the county has a need, and while we may not be something that we can deal with directly, we want to support them in helping their communities.
Are you seeing this come together with your joint stations where you have groups together working in other parts of the county?
Yeah. Coming together like that is essential. And the mayors and we talk all the time on the phone, via text. And I will say this, we really like each other and we enjoy working with each other. And to that point, we want to extend that same relationship to our state delegation. Our state delegation is a phenomenal, our 5 state representatives and our 2 state senators, they love this community. They grew up here. They represent us very, very well in Nashville. And while we disagree from time to time, and we will, and that is okay, I can tell you from my part, none of these disagreements are ever personal at any level. Sometimes it gets heated and we say things we regret. But I just want to say publicly that I completely appreciate the sacrifice they make going to Nashville, because I did it. I did it for 6 years, and I know what Brian Terry and Tim Rudd and Charlie Baum and Robert Stevens and Mike Sparks and Shane Reeves and Don White do for this county. They all are just tremendous assets to this county up in the state legislature, and I couldn't appreciate it more.
And since the General Assembly is underway now, we're going to come back after this break and see what lies ahead.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I happened to glance up, and the clear sky was gone.
Coast to coast, all night, every night.
All I could see was something round and black.
On WGNS, AM, FM, online.
Alan Butcher was one of many local residents who only went to Adams Place.
Of course, Adams Place, in my mind, is the premier senior care facility, not only in Murfreesboro, but in the immediate area. We're very happy here and so glad we came.
Hi, this is Terry Deal at Adams Place. Call me for more information about Adams Place. Phone 615-904-9111.
Adams Place on Memorial, across from Walmart.
Friends? Yes. The financial partners whom you've built a relationship with at Old National Bank are still at the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard location, right here in the borough. And so are the warm, homemade cookies.
Cookies are ready, dear.
Like Grandma used to make. If you need online and mobile banking, Murfreesboro's Old National Bank does that too. You and Old National Bank, better together.
Old National Bank at 2230 Dr. MLK Jr. Boulevard. Old National Bank, member FDIC.
Look for sunny to partly cloudy skies for this afternoon with highs reaching 34 degrees. For tonight, mostly clear skies, lows in the mid-teens. I'm meteorologist Michael Carr, News Radio WGNS. Right now, it's 9 above.
Join me, Speedy, Adler, and Greg for the Rick Burgess Show on WGNS.
The Rick Burgess Show, weekdays 11 to 2 on News Radio WGNS.
We are back again. Rutherford County Mayor Joe Carr is our guest. And you've had some challenges in previous General Assemblies. Maybe, I think we could call it challenges.
Yeah, you can call it that. By the way, it's a balmy 9 degrees, Bart, outside. So
that's it. I'm looking forward to getting outside and playing.
Balmy 9 degrees. Yeah, so we had some challenges, and I think, and I'm going to own some of this. There's 2 sides to everything and multiple sides to every argument. But I think I didn't do as good a job communicating and building and maintaining the relationships with the delegation that I should have. Again, like I said earlier in the show, lessons learned are like bridges burned. You don't need to cross them but once. So we will not repeat that mistake. So we're going to redouble our efforts in establishing a good working relationship with the delegation. From my part, it is good. But I want to make sure that it's comfortable on their part. And that's incumbent on me as the Rutherford County Mayor to do that. And so we are involved in reaching out to the delegation and having meetings with them and to find out how we can be of assistance to them. And because, quite honestly, I met with Representative Robert Stevens yesterday for lunch, and I'm going to meet with all the senators and the representatives over the next 2 weeks. And we're going to have good, frank conversations. But the one thing I want to leave with them is your success in Nashville is our success back here. And I really believe that. And I think we have, over the last year especially, there was too much conversation about our disagreements and not enough conversations about all the things that we agree on. And so there was a lack of proportionality there, if that makes any sense. And I just appreciate what they do for the county, and I want to support them as the mayor, and I want them to know that they can pick up the phone and call me anytime, and I will call them anytime if I've got a question or clarification, because I need to understand Governor Lee's special session, because in that special session we're going to talk about vouchers, right? I want to understand what that bill is. I'm not ready to pick a side on it yet. I want to understand Governor Lee's ideas on how to come in the special session combat illegal immigration, because back in 2008 when I was first elected, that I ran on that, and in my 6 years I wrote and sponsored, if not all the legislation, the vast majority of the illegal immigration legislation in Tennessee over those next 6 years. So much so, by the time that I left the House in 2014, Tennessee had the strongest enforceable illegal immigration laws on the books in the entire country. And they were so well written that we were the only state with these types of laws that was not sued in court. And that is a big deal. So they weren't just good laws, they were well-written laws. And so I'm really interested to hear from the delegation on what Governor Lee's ideas are regarding the special session and dealing and supporting the president, combating illegal immigration. And then, of course, the third thing on the special session is the money that we need to be helping the Hurricane Helene over in East Tennessee. Unfortunately, they've been forgotten because of the tragic fires in L.A., and it is tragic in L.A., but we don't need to forget that those people over there has suffered significantly, and we don't need to let the next catastrophe make us forget the current situation.
And you can't still easily get to
you can't.
Asheville.
It's a mess, and it's winter over there, and people literally do not have a place to live. They're living in tents over there in the winter. And I'm going to tell you something. We can do better than that. We can do a lot better than that. So,
let me ask you this, because when you looked at the General Assembly last time, you were trying to get money that you indicated other areas of even Murfreesboro was able to get the money in this way. The county was not, because a decision was not made to.
So that's not exactly right. I want to, if I can be technically correct, what the county was after was the same authority that the General Assembly had already granted other counties and cities with regard to development taxes and impact fees.
Counties and cities.
Right. We weren't after a specific money, although we needed additional revenues because of the growth in infrastructure needs as a result of that growth in the county. And so we were saying, look, we just want what Williamson County has, or what Wilson County has, or other counties, and we want what Murfreesboro, Smyrna, and Laverne have in the way of being able to assess impact fees and development taxes.
Did you get it?
We did not. We were not successful in that regard. However, the compromise, and this is where we need to recognize the efforts of Representatives Rudd and Baum and Terry and Sparks and Stevens and Senators Reeves and White, in that they said, that your goal, Mayor, really in this General Assembly is not achievable. However, what we will do is we'll raise the impact fee, or the school facilities tax from $1 to $1.50, and we will allow commercial to be $1.50 per square foot on up to, I think, 150,000 square feet. And so they were able to do that. So we didn't come away empty-handed. We were just trying a different approach, and our delegation said that approach is not feasible, but this approach is. So we ended up having this. So it's not like we came away with nothing. We had a compromise, and it is a success in my mind. Not the one we wanted, but it's still a success. And so that's how the process works. So,
do you get that fee on things that are outside of the municipalities,
yes,
or is it?
It's in the county. It's all within the county.
But it's not in the municipalities.
It is.
Oh, it is.
Yes,
okay.
mm-hmm.
So if they're building a large building in Murfreesboro, Smyrna, wherever,
it's the school's facilities tax. So again, we educate kids not just outside the city limits. We educate kids throughout the county. So that's why it's applicable.
Okay. And has that given you the needed money that you have?
Not yet. There's going to be about a 12 to 18 month wait before that starts to come in. But again, and that was the one part of the bill that I didn't like. It changed the timing of the collection. Having said that, though, Michael Smith, my finance director, and I, when we sit down and look at how we're going to build this year's budget, which is what we're getting ready to do, quite honestly, we don't build a budget just for this year. We build a budget we know is going to impact many years down the road. So when we construct a budget, and I would like to share this with you and your listeners real quick, when we construct a budget, it's like a table. There are 4 legs to a table. So there are 4 legs to the table called the budget that we're building. The first leg is we will always have a balanced budget. We don't do deficit spending. When I came into office, the county had a $64 million deficit. $64 million. That is unacceptable. So now that's number 1. We don't do deficits. Number 2, we always balance our budgets. Always. So we have no deficit, balanced budget. Number 3, we always take care of our Rutherford County employees. It's my goal that every year our employees will receive a cost of living adjustment that reflects the cost of inflation, because this year's dollar doesn't need to be less than last year's dollar because of inflation. And finally, we want to maintain our AAA bond rating. So when we construct the budget, it's those 4 legs of the table.
Okay. We are almost out of time this morning. We've got about 20 seconds. Any final thoughts you want to share?
I want to thank your listeners for listening and being involved. I want to thank you, Bart, for being our good neighbor station, and I always look forward to doing this. So thank you, and God bless.
Our county mayor with us this morning, Joe Carr. Joe, thanks again, and keep us informed on what's happening on the farm.
I will. Thank you, Bart. You have a good day.
You too. Stay with us. Much more to come right here on your Good Neighbor Day. It's going to be a Good Neighbor Day. We're up to 9 degrees.
The Good Neighbor Network, WGNS, Murfreesboro, Smyrna, flagship station for MTSU Sports. Courthouse clock time, 9 o'clock.